Ever wondered how narcissism can impact relationships, workplaces, and societies at large? Let's take a moment to unravel this complex psychological concept. Narcissism, in its essence, is a personality disorder characterized by an inflated sense of self-importance, an intense need for admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. They are often perceived as self-centered individuals who are excessively preoccupied with fantasies of success, power, beauty, or ideal love. Now, imagine these traits manifesting in different aspects of life. In personal relationships, narcissists can be manipulative and controlling, often leaving a trail of emotional destruction. They may seek to dominate conversations, belittle others, or exhibit an inflated sense of entitlement. In professional environments, narcissism can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, narcissistic individuals might project confidence, charisma, and assertiveness, traits that can be beneficial in leadership roles. On the other hand, their lack of empathy and tendency to exploit others can lead to toxic work environments, marked by high stress levels, low morale, and high employee turnover. At a societal level, unchecked narcissism can foster cultures of arrogance, entitlement, and a disregard for the common good. It can lead to the erosion of social norms and values, fostering inequality and injustice. Understanding and dealing with narcissistic behavior is crucial. It helps us maintain healthier relationships, create more empathetic work environments, and build more inclusive societies. Recognizing the signs of narcissism is the first step in this process. These might include an excessive need for admiration, a sense of entitlement, and a lack of empathy. But what happens when we unmask a narcissist? Let's delve into a hypothetical story. Picture this. John, a charismatic and seemingly confident individual with a knack for always being in the spotlight. John's charm is hard to resist, his confidence is infectious, and he seems to effortlessly command attention wherever he goes. But beneath this charismatic exterior lies a less appealing trait: narcissism. John's narcissistic tendencies are subtle but consistent. He has an inflated sense of self-importance, always steering conversations back to himself. He's quick to belittle others to maintain his superiority, and he lacks empathy, often dismissing the feelings and needs of those around him. While these traits can be easy to overlook in the face of his charm and confidence, they can have a profound impact on those who interact with him closely. Now meet Susan. Initially drawn to John's charisma, Susan soon starts noticing the cracks in his perfect facade. She observes his constant need for admiration, his inability to handle any form of criticism, and his tendency to manipulate others for his own gain. These observations make Susan wonder if John's charm is just a smokescreen for a more deep-seated issue. Recognizing these traits, Susan starts connecting the dots. She begins to see the pattern in John's behavior: his constant need for validation, his disregard for others' feelings, his inability to accept responsibility for his actions. With each passing day, the picture becomes clearer, and Susan realizes that she's dealing with a narcissist. Unmasking a narcissist is no easy task, but someone is about to take on this challenge. As we delve deeper into this narrative, we'll explore what happens when the mask of a narcissist is finally removed. It's a journey that will require courage, resilience, and a steadfast commitment to truth. But remember, knowledge is power, and understanding is the first step towards change. Stay tuned. The stage is set for confrontation. John's narcissistic behavior is about to be challenged. Our protagonist, let's call her Jane, has been observing John's behavior for some time. She's noted his constant need for admiration, his sense of entitlement, and his lack of empathy. She's decided it's time to confront John, not out of malice, but from a place of concern. Jane has done her homework. She's read up on narcissistic personality disorder and understands it's a complex issue, not simply a character flaw. She knows the importance of being prepared with concrete examples of John's narcissistic behavior. Jane is cautious not to come across as attacking, but rather she's assertive, maintaining a calm and steady voice. She starts by bringing up a recent incident where John belittled a friend in a social gathering to make himself appear superior. Jane explains how she noticed his tendency to manipulate conversations for his own benefit, often at the expense of others. She discusses how John's lack of empathy towards others' feelings has resulted in strained relationships. Jane then moves to the subject of John's sense of entitlement. She highlights instances where he's expected preferential treatment and how he reacts negatively when things don't go his way. She talks about the unrealistic expectations he sets for others while exempting himself from the same standards. Throughout the confrontation, Jane maintains her composure, her voice steady and assertive. She reminds herself that her goal isn't to attack John, but to expose the patterns of behavior that are causing harm in the hope that John might seek help. The confrontation ends. Jane has laid out her observations and concerns, and now it's up to John to respond. But how does a narcissist react when their behavior is exposed? John's reaction to being exposed is classic narcissist. Let's examine what happens next. When a narcissist is exposed, their reaction can be unpredictable and intense. Let's delve into this by looking at John's reaction to being exposed. When John's narcissistic behavior was brought to light, he displayed a flurry of reactions that are typical of narcissists in such situations. Initially, there was denial. John simply refused to accept the accusations leveled against him. He attempted to dismiss them as misunderstandings or exaggerations. This denial can often be so strong that it borders on delusion, as the narcissist struggles to reconcile the image they have constructed of themselves with the reality being presented to them. Following denial, John's reaction morphed into anger. This is a common response to being exposed, as narcissists perceive any criticism or challenge to their self-image as a direct threat. Their fury can be intense and unsettling, often aimed at intimidating the accuser into backing down. Then came the blame shifting. John tried to deflect responsibility for his actions onto others, accusing them of causing his behavior or even fabricating the entire situation. This is a defense mechanism narcissists use to protect their inflated self-concept and avoid any feelings of guilt or shame. Lastly, John played the victim. He painted himself as the innocent party who was being unfairly targeted, attempting to elicit sympathy and support. This is a manipulative tactic designed to shift focus away from the narcissist's actions and onto their supposed suffering. The aftermath of exposing a narcissist can be tumultuous, not just for the narcissist, but for the person who exposed them and those around them. The narcissist's reactions can create an environment of tension and conflict, making it difficult for people to process what has happened and come to terms with the reality of the situation. Remember, understanding and dealing with narcissism is crucial for healthy relationships and environments. By recognizing and responding appropriately to these behaviors, we can help to limit their impact and foster a more positive and respectful atmosphere. Exposing a narcissist can be a challenging yet necessary task. As we've discussed, understanding the depth of narcissism, its impact, and the steps towards unmasking the narcissist are vital. We've delved into the typical reactions of a narcissist when cornered, which can range from denial to extreme anger. This journey is not about demonizing, but about navigating the complex labyrinth of narcissistic behavior. In the end, the goal is not to vilify, but to understand, confront, and mitigate narcissistic behavior